You all follow, I mean, the situation in the Gaza Strip and in Palestine and Israel continue to be extremely dire, tense, and very volatile. In Gaza, I think we can say clearly today that there are 2 million survivors. Every day is literally a struggle to survive. And survive to insecurity because, as we repeatedly say, there is no place that is safe to stay and to live. We, as a humanitarian community and the international community, we're doing all the effort possible to bring assistance, but the reality is that there is very little that we can bring inside Gaza to tackle displacement and deal with the looming famine that, as you might have read a few weeks back, it has been announced by colleagues from the Integrated Phase Analysis, IPC. The reality is that the system overall has its hand tight. Insecurity, for sure, is the main feature that we see all over. We have seen operations that have finished recently in Khan Yunis. They were supposed to be short and contained. In reality, they have been lasting for more than a month, if not two. And the level of devastation has been quite impressive. In these days, now the concentration of the activities, military activities, are more in Nusayrat. So it's on the verge of literally the border between the north and the south of the Gaza Strip at the Wadi Gaza level. The devastation that we have also encountered after this operation is quite impressive. Homes, cars, trucks, roads are completely destroyed. The vast majority of schools have been destroyed, and there is not a single university that is standing in Gaza. It will take years to bring back students to school, and you can imagine what is the implication for that. And lastly, we have seen really very problematic, let's say, operation in hospitals. In Shifa, a couple of weeks ago, there has been very heavy military operations, and our team have entered the following days and have to deal with a scene of terror. The hospital is completely non-functional at this moment. The number of fatalities that have been reported has been important, but also, and more problematic, the number of bodies that has disappeared, that has been buried in or in the premises of the Shifa hospital or around the hospital has been also problematic and unknown, to the point that the United Nations and other colleagues of Palestinian colleagues have helped to the families to start recognizing the remnants of corpses. And they have literally welcomed families that were trying to identify their family members, either through the shoes or clothes or any sign that could make recognizable the bodies that were buried into the graves that we have found within the premises of the hospital. Looming famine is something also we're dealing with. As you know, this is a completely man-made and preventable situation. I think that there has been a lot of efforts from our side and from the Israeli side to some extent to increase the volume aid that is going to the north. The point is that famine, as you know, is not only about food. Is a combination of food, sanitation, water, and health facilities. And those to be restored to the decent or a minimum standard requires really massive operations that we cannot really fully do as we speak. Uncertainty is a daily reality for people in Gaza. The displacement, the families that have came to the south have been displaced at times 7 times. And in the recent days, no later than 2 days ago, we saw thousands of people again queuing toward the north, going on the coastal road, trying to cross the checkpoint on the coastal road, because there was a rumor that the Israeli forces have allowed, or would have allowed, people to go back to the north. Indeed, some people received phone calls that were intended to suggest that they could go back. And then when thousands of people showed up, the Israeli military had shot on the area, because they were, you know, quite taken aback about the number of people that showed up, because the tam-tam of the information was really disseminated all over. Humanitarian communities and actors hence remains tight. We are 6 months on operation, and still we do not have all the possible entry point open on regular basis. It's very problematic. Humanitarian operations are regularly impeded. On the week between the 6th and the 12th of April, we had 41% of our operations, request of operation to the north, have been denied. And just last week, you know, a convoy, UN convoy, where UNICEF and WFP colleagues were, and UFPA colleagues were, has come under fire. It was, you know, a crossfire, but still in an area that was supposed to be secured, because it is in proximity of the checkpoint, and so it was supposed to be secure. It's the combination of strategies to make obstacle to humanitarian assistance is from access denial, but also simple delay at the checkpoint, or other type of impediment that will then ultimately not allow the humanitarian community to deliver our work and our assistance. I think in general we have seen in the last week, and we welcome recent Israeli commitments to improve aid facilitation, but we cannot, you know, accept, and we are dealing with this dance where we do one step forward, two steps backward, or two steps forward and one step backward, which leave us basically always at the same point with the new, you know, for every new opportunity that we've been given, we will find yet another challenge to deal with. So it's really difficult for us to scale up where we would like to be at the humanitarian operations. We keep on discussing with the Israeli Authority. They promised better coordination with Southern Command, and some progress was made here, but still there is not. We are not where we should be. Hopefully, you know, we will continue to pursue our engagement at trying to get there. Opening the crossing directly to the north was one of the critical requests that we have done. We've seen some progress on that. There are still some tests. It's very sensitive, of course, as you can imagine, from the Israeli public. And also there is logistical challenges to face, because of the level of the destruction in the north is quite important. So we have to find ways to get there. The processes of incoming trucks has always been challenges. It's not only about how many trucks enter, but it's also about the ability to bring that assistance to the people. You know, a facilitation of humanitarian assistance is not number of trucks. Facilitation of humanitarian assistance is when we reach people that needs wherever they are. And that's what we are discussing every day with Israel. There has been resumption of bakery in the north. That was one of the commitments that Israel has made, and indeed there has been some WFP convoys that have succeeded to go to the north. And also the fundamental, of course, is the additional water line that was promised to be repaired, and we hope that we will see that soon. It's important for us to continue on this trajectory. It has to happen quickly, because, of course, with the coming good season and the hot weather, access to water will be fundamental, as you can imagine. And of course, we call once again the party to stop the destruction of infrastructure. We have seen, unfortunately, the Operation Khan Yunis have left a completely demolished area. Hospitals, water and sanitation infrastructure, roads have been completely torn apart, which will, of course, complicate our ability to deliver. Reiteration of a message that we've been constantly asking to the parties is that to end the war, but that will not stop our efforts to deliver humanitarian assistance. West Bank, if I may, Stefan, briefly.
Yeah,
we have
please.
seen, unfortunately, since last Friday, particularly, a new wave of settler violence, with starting with, unfortunately, an Israeli boy from a settlement going missing and then found dead. That has caused a reaction with a simultaneous attack on 17 villages over the weekend. 3 Palestinians have been killed and many have been injured. Arson attacks on homes, cars, and other structure. There has been use of live ammunition, and dozens of livestock have been killed and hundreds stolen. And Israeli forces, in some cases, and accounts that we have collect from the ground, were somehow protecting the attackers, or in some cases participating to the attack. We counted 21 homes completely burned and 30 cars, and several agricultural infrastructure. Of course, impacting the livelihood of people, with 86 people overall displaced. Of course, this is quite concerning for us, because it is entrenching a trend that has been very, very intense after October. We had 781 attacks, which is over 4 attacks per day made by settlers in the West Bank, to the point that yesterday the Prime Minister, the newly appointed Prime Minister in Palestine, has requested us, and the international community has called and gathered the international community, asking for a steady support to prevent the deterioration of the situation in the West Bank. We have also counted a gigantic step forward in terms of closures. We count 114 new closures that have been erected since October 7, and that includes checkpoints, ferry mounts, roadblocks, road gates, which is constraining the ability of Palestinians to move, to the point that some of our colleagues do not come to the office now since months, because really, literally, it is not possible. And then, of course, this creates an impact on the livelihood and displaced people. We have more than 200 Palestinian households that have been displaced, for a total of 1,300 people, mostly hurting families, and of course quite a considerable number of children. In front of this, we are releasing tomorrow the flash appeal for from here to the end of the year. The entire humanitarian community will appeal for 2.8 billion to support the 3 million people identified across West Bank and Gaza. Of course, 90% of it is for Gaza. And in fact, the original request was for 4 billion, but considering the limited ability to deliver and the space that we have to do so, we have really focused on the highest priority.